she is here to drop the truth about bioidentical hormone therapy, the real deal on GLPs and weight loss with menopause.
First of all, you're never too late. I have some women that come in at 70 that have never been on hormones. That testosterone is the first one to go. And you might have regular periods and everything else may seem normal. But the first symptoms are going to be that low sex drive, not motivated, the zest for life, muscle mass, weight gain, trouble sleeping.
Welcome to the Hot Flash Health Podcast, where we're dishing out unfiltered truths about menopause with a side of sass and a sprinkle of grass.
Get ready to dive into the wild world of hot flashes, mood swings, and all of the other joys of being a queenager.
This ain't your grandma's podcast. No, we are here to talk our bodies, our fears, our passions, our desires, all while navigating this wild roller coaster ride of menopause.
So grab a glass of wine,
Or three.
kick back, relax, and let's enjoy this hot flash wave together.
I'm Courtney Mamusha, and alongside me is my fabulous co-host, Dawn Fable.
We're just two outspoken broads who like to call it how it is.
Now, without further ado, let's kick off today's episode. Welcome back to Hot Flash Health, where your 40s and 50s aren't your downhill slide. They're your power decade. If your sex drive's MIA, your sleep's a joke, and your fridge raids aren't working, you're in the right place, y'all. Today's guest, Margo Toms of Essential Health, is here to drop the truth about bioidentical hormone therapy, the real deal on amphetamine, and the menopause tips she wishes everyone knew before blowing a paycheck on all these GLP-1 shots, right? If you've ever thought maybe I'm just feeling like crap forever, Margo's here to prove you're not. So grab your coffee, your wine, both. Let's fix your hormones, your energy, and your sex life without selling your soul to big pharma. So welcome, Margo. I'm so excited to have you here. We've been dying to have you on the podcast, and I got to meet you through a mutual friend. So I'm excited for you to introduce yourself to the world.
Thanks, Courtney. Thanks, Dawn. I'm really excited to be here. I really love my hormone replacement therapy. I take my own hormones. I feel amazing. And I'm so excited to help other women through this transition in life and just let you know that, well, there's support. You're not alone, and there are options. So I feel like this is what we need.
Before maybe we get started, why don't you tell people how you got started in this and your company?
Yeah, so my company is Essential Health. I've been a practitioner for 20 years now, and I've been doing strictly hormone replacement therapy for about 10 years. Part of it was going through my own change in hormones. I went through menopause early at 39, and started working with a doctor that was cutting edge hormone replacement therapy, bioidenticals that a lot of people talk about. And so I felt it firsthand for myself. My whole life changed. And I am just passionate about helping women through this middle age transition and feeling your best so that we can live the rest of our life the best. So I have an office in Glendale and Cherry Creek, and the patients come in, I blood levels, do all the hormone testing and counseling, and then come up with individualized plans to the patient so they feel better.
So, Margo, we are all dying to know, right? So let's just get straight to it. What are the biggest lies that women are being told about menopause and weight gain? Because there is so much noise out there. It's bonkers.
I feel like it's terrible. I feel like the biggest lies are the dismissive lies. Well, it's just normal aging. There's nothing we can do. You just have to deal with a new set point for yourself. And the truth is, there's so much we can do. People all the time come to my clinic saying there's no testing that we can do, or they went to their primary care and there's nothing we can do, or it's just normal aging. That's not true. There's so much we can do. We can check hormone levels. We can do weight loss stuff. You can feel a lot better. So I feel like those are the biggest lies.
Well, I mean, let's be real though. We're certainly not the skinny girls that we once were in college, where we could smoke a pack of cigarettes, eat a pound of pizza, and, drink 5,000 cocktails and not gain a pound. So our bodies are shifting and changing in menopause. Am I right?
Yes, well, our bodies are changing. We have to make changes, and it's important to know what those are. Like as we age, our liver changes. It can't process carbs and alcohol and things like that as well. And we just have to do different things, and we have to be more intentional about what we're doing. And once you do those things, you can feel amazing. And of course, my biggest point is always having your hormones balanced. If your hormones aren't balanced, you might as well just be trying to walk up a straight hill every day. So get your hormones balanced, and then everything lightens up. You'll feel so much better. And you'll feel more like your 20-year-old self. And it'll be realistic.
God, I can't wait to have that bitch back. It's, Don and I have talked about this before. We're hearing a lot about the GLP-1s, like trizepatide, which I'm on currently. In your opinion, who are they really for, and what should every woman know about before jumping in? Because I think, most of us are like jumping on this bandwagon and probably not knowing a lot about it. Although it's worked for me, ladies.
Congratulations. That's awesome. And I am a fan of those medications as well, because when you look at someone being overweight and making poor food choices, all of those are not great things. Those are going to lead you to an unhealthy place. And taking medications can, of course, lower your weight, make you feel better, help you make better food choices. And those are going to make lots of difference in all different aspects of your life. Things that you have to pay attention to: there is an increased risk for a thyroid cancer, so you have to just be aware of that. You have to be aware that it slows your digestion, and you can have a blockage in your stomach, and it can make you dehydrated. So if you're somebody that has kidney issues or dehydration problems, like, yes, we need to pay attention to that. But overall, I think that that class of medication is great for most people. And I think it's really beneficial for middle-aged women, because our organs are aging. The pancreas isn't as like it used to be. The liver is not like it used to be. And that specific medication kind of gives you a little boost and helps those organs do their job. So you probably know you feel great. You don't think about food as much. It helps. It's anti-inflammatory. Helps to help with joint pain. Just all the things.
It's a slippery slope though, right? I mean, I've been on and
Yes.
off of it for a year, and I hopped on that bandwagon right when it first came out. My intentions were purely from a vanity perspective. I mean, being very honest, right? I don't love to exercise. I love to drink wine. As a busy working mom of three little kiddos, I was like, hey, I need like a little bit of an easy way out. My intention was to lose that 10, 15 pounds, and then get to a place where I had more confidence, I had more drive to work out and really go from there. Right. I think, you have to be cautious, because I got off of it. Right.
Right.
Wasn't necessarily as committed to those exercise practices and eating right and all of those things. And I gained the weight right back. So is it something, in your opinion, that really we as women who want to keep that weight off and aren't necessarily doing everything that we're supposed to be doing to, from a health and diet perspective, is this a drug that we have to be on for?
This is a great question. And honestly, I've been doing weight loss for probably 30 years now. And I always come back to the same spot, which is it's the hard news. But it doesn't matter, honestly, if you have gastric bypass, if you take pills, if you do the injections. We all have to come to the acceptance that if you want to keep a thin body heading into later life, you're going to have to do the things. You're going to have to be committed to exercising. You're going to have to be committed to eating healthy foods, getting your sleep, but maybe say no to alcohol some of the nights. And there really is no way around it. And so all of these things, like the GLP-1 agonists, work great, but you still at the end of the day have to do the things, and you have to maintain those. And I always tell patients, we offer it at my clinic also, and I love the microdose. Go off of it very slow. Work on your appetite. What are your triggers? Is it when you are really stressed? Is it when you go really long periods without eating? Is it just late night snacking? Is it when you drink wine, then all of a sudden you start eating other things? So just go off of it slowly, and just know that you have to be committed to doing all the tough things.
Margo, we don't like to hear that. That's not.
I know.
Donna and I are like, what? We want the magic shot. We want the magic shot.
Well, it's the express lane. Get in the express lane, take the medication, but at the end of it, you still have to drive your car and you're going to have to still do the things. And let me tell you, I'm thin. I've had to lose weight over the years through all of this process, and I love pizza. I love drinking. I like to sleep in, not exercise, but I love being thin more. And at the end of the day, I'm like, oh, okay, I won't have that next drink. I'll get up and do my workout. Some days you drag yourself. I just gotta do the things.
Well, thank you for your honesty. I don't love your answer either.
I know. Sorry.
No, it's okay. You're somebody who's an expert and know these things. So it's just funny. Donna and I are like, nope.
No. Well, I spent a lot of time counseling patients. Oh, sorry. I spent a lot of time counseling patients on little things that you can kind of trade out so you don't feel like your whole life is changing. Like, yes, you can have your snacks. Yes, you can have your things in the evening. You can have your life, like how to have that balance, and not feel like you're denying yourself.
Yeah. Why the weight though? Why the weight all around sort of the belly line, right? Why do us perimenopausal women, as we like to call it, cougar puberty, why do we in our cougar puberty look like we're carrying a tire iron around our bellies?
Yeah.
Why does it all go there? Why can't it distribute,
Well, I wish, but there's a physiological reason, and it's because the liver can't process carbohydrates as well. And the liver stores carbs for quick energy. And as it ages, and especially through menopause, it converts all of it to fat a lot quicker, and it stores it around your organs. So that is basically that muffin top, a spare tire, and it's just part of aging. And there's another factor. So the liver is one part. The other part is our hormones, and we lose testosterone as we age. So even if you're someone that's like, I exercise all the time, well, if you don't have testosterone on board, you're not going to build muscle, you're not going to burn a lot of calories, and your metabolism's going to slow down. So you have to have all the pieces in place. Like you have to exercise, you have to have testosterone on board, and you have to work with your liver. You can't have too many carbs at once. And if you like, sometimes I tell people, if you end up having a pasta meal and a glass of wine, then go run around your house a little bit, go up and down the stairs, like burn through the quick carbs so it doesn't get converted to fat and go to the fat bank. The fat bank is right there, is your spare tire, and it is not going to leave. So you got to burn through it and get rid of it before it goes there.
I got to tell you, I'm super excited that you say that liver and kidneys and all your organs are aging too, because I never thought about it that way. And I was like, I think I'm just killing my liver because I'm drinking too much, but maybe it's just because it's getting older and can't process. So
it's also aging. Yeah.
Grandma liver.
Grandma. Gotta get that grandma in shape.
We should start like calling our livers and our organs like grandma names. Like, oh, yeah. Gertrude is feeling sort of tired.
Yes, all of us are aging. Yeah.
Let's transition because I'm really curious about bioidentical therapy. I really don't know much about it. I really want to know what exactly it is and why do some doctors freak out about what's going on and what's research saying. So can you give us a little 411 on what this whole thing is all about?
Absolutely. Bioidentical hormones just means that they are the exact same chemical structure as what your body makes. So if your body makes estrogen and it has 16 hydrogens, then so does the bioidentical hormones. There's no side effects from the hormones. They're the same thing as your body makes. There's just effects of too much or not enough. The bioidenticals I always prescribe are either in the form of a cream or in pellets. And I really try to stay away from pills because anything orally goes through your digestive system and your liver produces a bunch of byproducts. So like if you take a regular medication like an aspirin, it's not the same as what your body makes, and your body can react to all those foreign things. So the bioidentical is the same thing that your body was making, and now your body is just, the ovaries age and it's not making it, and we replace it with an external source, which is the hormones. And it's just a natural aging process. And some of it, like testosterone is the first hormone to go, it stops a lot of times around late 30s. So women have that, like, it's the same as postpartum, actually. When women are postpartum and have that postpartum depression, they have really low testosterone. So some people can identify with how they feel then, which is depressed, tired, not motivated, low sex drive, just, oh, I don't feel like doing anything, irritable. That's the first hormone. Then it's progesterone, and then the last is estrogen. So as your body stops producing those things, which is just a normal part of aging, we want to replace them because there's lots of benefits to having them. Yeah.
Yeah. No, certainly. I mean, we have many friends and have many conversations around this podcast on, the misconceptions of hormone replacement therapy and the downfall of what has happened since the Women's Health Initiative many, many years ago, really creating this fear-based model of hormone replacement therapy that was very inaccurate and very, small pieces of data. And we've come such a long way in really changing the school of thought on that, where hormone replacement therapy is actually proving to be advantageous for preventative diseases. You see many people using it for increased or preventative for cognitive functioning, Alzheimer's. You see many people using it for positive bone density. You see all of the benefits from it, and it's so refreshing to start hearing people talk about those benefits versus everyone being so fearful of HRT. And I guess that's my question to you is, from your perspective, what are the biggest benefits aside from getting a sex drive back, having more energy, mood enhancement, all of those things? What are some of the biggest benefits, in your opinion, that clients are really raving about when they do hormone replacement therapy?
Yeah, sure. Well, isn't it interesting? One side point is that one study that came out. I am amazed at how social media, like this one news report morning that, Good Morning America could have such an impact. I can't believe 20 years later, we are still trying to dig out from that bad reputation, but that is in the past and it's not current medicine. But the benefits that my patients see, including myself, is first of all, good night's sleep, which goes a long way. People sleep through the night, like 6, 7, 8 hours consistent, sometimes 9. They wake up feeling refreshed. They have energy. They feel motivated. They have a sex drive, muscle mass. And when you have that A game, you just function so much better. You make better food choices. You finally go to the gym instead of ordering pizza and just like, oh, forget it. Moods are a lot better. Irritability, anxiety, crying. Let's see. I mean, those are hair loss, joint pain. Yeah. I mean, I benefit. I have had all of those changes doing hormone replacement therapy, but um, most of the time, patients just say they found themselves again. They feel so much better, and
How long does
they,
it usually take to like kick in, right? If somebody's starting hormone replacement therapy, like is it like right away you feel good? I mean, some of your clients are like, oh my gosh, immediately, or does it take a month or 2 months, or like what's the typical impact?
yeah, usually I say between 2 days and 2 weeks. So, like, I just had my own pellet Tuesday, and already today is Friday. I'm like, oh, I feel so much better. Things like night sweats and hot flashes are the first to go. So that's usually within 3 or 4 days, and they'll be completely gone. And that's another thing. Like women feel so miserable with those, and they can go on for years. But yeah, usually within 2 weeks, pretty much everything. Some of the brain fog, memory loss, muscle mass, those things can take longer because you have to regenerate new cells. But once it gets up and going, then it just is sustained. Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of this, at Hot Flash Health, we really believe that knowledge is power, right? We want to give women the tools to advocate for themselves when something is feeling off. Because I think for many, many years, we've been so dismissed and we've not been heard and seen, right? It's been disregarded to anxiety or stress or just life in general. Each woman, we've learned, is very different as to where their optimal numbers should be. And for so long, we've just settled for mediocrity. When we get hormone tests, there's low and there's high, and things are okay because you're right in the middle. We don't want to be in the middle. We want to advocate and optimize a maximum of where we should be, right?
For sure. Yeah.
So, when it comes to hormone testing and really analyzing your numbers and your levels, what is your thought process around the numbers of all of this?
Right. Well, there's a big range, like you just said. That's part of what needs to be updated in this whole system is the range is from for people that are teenagers to menopausal women, and they're like, oh, this is all normal. Okay, well, that's not normal for a 50-year-old woman. So when I check the levels, I always look at like, I've basically over the years of experience have come up with an ideal range. And so I will tell patients, this is normal, but this is where your ideal is. And it's for each of the hormones. So estrogen has a level, usually like below 60, women are going to feel miserable, have all these symptoms. And then too much is also not a good thing. Too much estrogen can be breast tenderness, periods, irregular bleeding, gain. So for each of the hormones, and it's estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone, there is an ideal range. So I usually will send the lab results along with, what ideal. But to your point that we're all individual, and some women are very sensitive. Some women are like me. You got to hit me over the head with it, and I get it. So I need a bigger dose. I need kind of a higher end. Else who's kind of finicky might be on the other side. So it's important to look at all the symptoms, go through where people have like tendencies. Like if somebody has a tendency for acne or hair loss, then we don't want too much testosterone. So it's looking at the whole picture of the levels and balancing that with who that person is and what their symptoms are.
I mean, that brings up a good point to me, and something that like I'm constantly thinking about. And here at Hot Flash, we're rolling out an at-home hormone kit for people who can't get into the doctor's office or want to get answers really, quicker. But how often should women be checking their hormone levels? I mean, again, we're talking about cortisol that could change throughout the day, like your morning, noon, and night. Your cortisol levels could be off. So if things are changing daily, what's a good range to say? Should I be checking it every quarter? Should I be checking it every month? Like, what do you recommend for people?
Well, I definitely wish that in the future we could do them every year to begin with. Like this should be part of our annual exam. Like, where are your hormones? Like starting at 35, let's look at them. And then, yes, the levels do change, but there still is that range. Depending on where you're at in your cycle, it doesn't, you can still analyze them and you can still see like, okay, these levels are dropping. Like back to the testosterone level. That's pretty stable. So it doesn't really matter if you check it, every 6 months or every week. Like you don't have to look at them every day. But the key is to get the snapshot, get the information, and move forward with where that is. And probably the levels are going to be on the low side. I mean, I like to have patients at least have levels checked twice a year, but it doesn't have to be all the time. We just need to get a look at it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great advice. I know, you're obviously seeing patients, all day, every day, and you're getting a lot of really interesting questions. And we were talking about this sort of previously. A lot of women are wondering, can you have low hormones if you're still getting a regular period?
Right.
What?
And you definitely can. And a lot of women don't want to come in because they think, well, I have my period still. I must not be menopausal. But really, when you're finally menopausal, okay, fine. That's when the majority of you've already been through the majority of it. We want to get started as the levels start dropping, not when you're menopausal. And that's where a lot of I feel like providers kind of leave patients short because they check your levels and they'll say, well, you're not menopausal, nothing we can do. The reason why we have all these symptoms is because we are having withdrawal from the hormones. Not that they're gone, but that we're having less and less. So what was your original question? I already forgot.
No, I just was talking about, a lot of the questions that you're seeing. And
Oh,
one of the
right.
questions was, can you still have low hormones even though you're still getting a regular period? And your answer was yes.
Yes, yes.
I know another question, and I have a lot of people ask me this just being in the space is, yes, of course, there's an average age for menopause, but am I too young for menopause or am I too old for menopause? What are the signs with women in their 30s, on the younger side, or even women's in their 50s on the older side? Like, what's your thought process for that?
First of all, you're never too late. I have some women that come in at 70 that have never been on hormones, and they're like, "This, I want to start feeling better." So it's never too late. And I'm also seeing a lot of women in their 30s, which is wonderful because that testosterone is the first one to go. And you might have regular periods and everything else may seem normal, but the first symptoms are going to be that low sex drive, not motivated. The zest for life, muscle mass, weight gain, trouble sleeping. Those are the early signs. The later signs are going to be like hot flashes, night sweats. That's when the estrogen starts to go. And then the period becomes irregular, which is more obvious. A lot of women have IUDs and don't have periods. So
I love when people say, "When did you have your last period?" I'm like, before I had a baby.
right, yes. So great. IUDs are wonderful. I love IUDs. Birth control is a tough thing. So a lot of women are on birth control. They kind of get that from their primary care, but it kind of, first of all, overrides your hormones. It suppresses everything your body makes and it blocks a lot of the testosterone. So IUDs are wonderful. Birth control pills into your 40s, not a safe idea actually, because it increases your risk for blood clots. And we really shouldn't be using that. And birth control, now that I'm talking about that, is about 10 times as strong as hormone replacement therapy. So we don't need all of that. Yeah.
Who needs birth control when you're not having sex, right? Because
We have no libidos. Why are we doing that?
know,
Well, you need hormone replacement therapy.
I
I don't
have
have that problem.
heard horror stories or wonderful stories, however you decide to take it, where, women are getting these testosterone pellets and they're like humping their own, jeans, or they're, in the corner of their house, dry humping the walls, and their husbands are just thrilled. Their husbands are scared shitless of them because the women are just going in like, crazed sexual beasts. Can you talk a little bit, like, what are the expectations of when you do get pellets as it pertains to your libido?
Yeah, and there are those cases, and I see some of those patients that come in from other places where there can be too much, and too much testosterone is a lot of sex drive, and people feel a little crazy, and acne and facial hair and some other deepened voices, lots of things we don't want. So I do think it's important to go to a good provider because this is an expertise. I mean, that's why I'm a hormone expert, because I've been doing this for years. There's effects of too much, and they're not always great. Like, we don't want a crazy sex drive. We want to have a healthy sex drive, but too much is not a good thing. So you have to get your levels checked. You have to know what the normal ranges are and what's ideal and what's too high. And it only takes one bad experience where people will have a pellet and they're like, I'm never doing that again. I kind of have to work with them to say, it's going to be fine. You just had too much.
How long do you keep a pellet in for? I'm curious.
It dissolves completely, and they dissolves over about 3 to 4 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for somebody just starting out on hormones like me, I still haven't had any and need to come in and see you. Is there like a general cocktail mix that you mix, or it's like strictly everyone's individual and you're like, we're going to add more progesterone, you need more just, testosterone, you need this, or is there just like here you go?
Well, this is definitely where like my chemistry kind of person comes out, and like, I make your magic potion for you, which I love to do, but it's because I'm so excited for you to feel your best, and each person is individual, but each person is specific, and I don't give like everyone has the small, medium, and large kind of dosing. But yes, progesterone, testosterone, and estrogen, some combination usually of those three. But usually when people are just getting started, a lot of times all they need is a little testosterone. And then as your body produces less, I add them in. So, but I do find over the years, like, yes, there's certain combinations, like it's common to have certain doses of pellets or certain doses of the cream. Like, a lot of women it works for, but it's so individual. I really start with how you're feeling, what's going on, and your levels, and we work our way through there. Yeah. Yes. Come in and get your hormones. You need them.
I know.
Yes, of course. I think, for a lot of us, right? And it's so frustrating, and don't even get Courtney and I on our soapbox as to why insurance is not covering hormone replacement therapy, and why insurance is not covering a lot of, the resources that we need throughout menopause. And it's difficult because a lot of these solutions are self-pay and they're very expensive. In your opinion, what are 2 or 3 affordable tools, resources, medication, therapy, whatever it may be, to help women navigate through this time in their lives?
Wine, massage.
A therapist. Yes, all of those things. Well, of course, I'm a big fan of the hormone replacement therapy. And even if you could just get the basics of some, like an estrogen patch from your primary care, progesterone pills, or another thing they often give, like, that's great. We want at least some of the hormones replaced. Okay, if it's not going to be all of them, at least get the basics covered of estrogen and progesterone. Testosterone is really important too. But other things like exercise, healthy, I know, healthy diet. Okay, and plug your ears. Honestly, like cutting back on alcohol, especially red wine. It really affects our hormones. It really affects our sleep. I know you don't like that part, but
No, listen, as we get older, red wine is so much harder to drink. I've noticed that. So I'm like, I think my body is just like physically being like, fuck that wine, you know? I'm like, all right, rose it is, bitch.
Put on the pink stuff. You're halfway there.
Don't give me that
yeah.
red wine. I will trump you. Not trump, sorry.
Oh.
That's a bad word. Retake. Continue, Margo. Sorry.
Continue. Well, or even other things like getting a good night's sleep. So some people will use, I see patients use like CBD supplements and or melatonin. So like, okay, let's focus on getting a good night's sleep. That can help you. Honestly, our diet, like cruciferous vegetables, which are broccoli, cauliflower, and Brussels sprouts, those are really high in something called DIM, and DIM helps to process out excess estrogen, and it helps with our hormones. So there's things like that, but always the exercise, fruits and vegetables, away from processed foods, and yeah, that.
What are we as women? We see a lot of these things on Instagram, where you have physicians or experts or whatever saying 1 to 10, no, yes, no, yes. What are some of the things that we are being marketed to frivolously and unnecessary things
Oh,
where you don't, you would not recommend or suggest, because I think we're all consumers, right? We're all desperate. We're all looking for answers. And so we're willing to try just about anything that's out there. But there's probably a lot of misconceptions and a lot of vitamins, supplements, food, things that we don't need. What are
yeah.
your things to stay away from?
Patients come in and they have a long list of all the things they've been trying. And of course, it's always that story of like, well, I don't want to spend a bunch of money on hormone replacement therapy. And I'm like, well, you could get rid of all of these supplements and just take a little dose of hormones. Like it's what you need. You need a little bit of estrogen. So a lot of these things, like there's estrogen vaginal supplements. I feel like there's so many, like there's weight loss supplements, there's testosterone inducers, there's all these things, and they add up a lot of times to nothing. I mean, patients are still coming in, they're taking all this stuff. And I would just say, no need to put your liver through processing all of that. No need to spend all the money. Just spend a little money to get your hormones and take the bioidentical, whether it's through me or someone else, doesn't matter, of course, but small amount of bioidentical hormones. And that is what you need. Don't replace it with antidepressants, anti-anxieties. Don't replace it with list of other sleeping pills, just take the hormones and that's all you need.
I feel like as I'm getting older, I have like the lazy Susan of all my medications. I'm like, how can we minimize that? It's like I want to live healthy and be naturally healthy. And I mean, I feel like what you're saying is, by this hormone replacement or bioidentical hormones, right? You're kind of getting back to your natural self where you don't have to rely on, like you said, your sleeping pills. I don't take antidepressants, but it's sort of like my shot, my Ozempic, all these things that I'm doing. But well, now I have to be on blood pressure medicine because my blood pressure is too low. So it's like, again, like as we're getting older, like all these, my little lazy Susan of drugs that I'm trying to get rid of. So more cruciferous vegetables, I guess, huh? That's the answer. And exercise and no wine. All right. Check, check, check.
Not a chance.
Yes.
I bet you $1,000 you can't do it. But you're right, Court. Like, what are your go-to supplements, right? If we were to choose for 3 to 5 supplements that are really important to us through this hormonal journey and aging process, what would your go-tos be?
Well, I really love the vitamin D, but you may not notice that you feel that much difference, but it really does help prevent a lot of different cancers. So, and because we use sunscreen and we wear our sunglasses, but it has to be D3 with K2. It's important that we have the K2 in there. So a vitamin D supplement, I love probiotics. Our intestinal system and our gut microbiome produces a lot of our serotonin, and that's what's going to help you feel better. So probiotics. Omega 3s are a great option too. They can help with moods. Another one that I really like is ashwagandha. It also helps with moods and comes from a plant and is pretty straightforward, and people feel a lot better with that. And depending on what your issue is, sleep, if that's one of them, maybe a CBD supplement. But yeah, those are my go-to.
Speaking of moods, why are we all so moody? Like, my children speak in a different tone of voice, or my dogs bark, or my husband chews too loudly. Why all of the sudden are we so irritable, moody, intolerable, all of the things?
It really, that's
What
just the
helps with
testosterone.
that?
What was the
It's
last thing you said?
testosterone.
Yeah.
Testosterone.
Yeah, it's the testosterone. And I feel like when you go to a lot of providers like our OBGYNs or primary care, they're fairly decent about giving the estrogen, maybe the patch and the progesterone pill. But the biggest hormone that we forget about is testosterone. And women, we need some, not a lot, but just a little bit. But that is why you're irritable, create more, you can't let things go. You just keep thinking things are just annoying and kind of knocking at you. That's all low testosterone. Yeah.
Well, you have provided quite the laundry list of tools here, and we'll probably recap them in our video so people can read and tell people how they can get in touch with you because you are just a wealth of information, and I'm dying to get into you because I want to fix all of these wrongs in my life.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks. Yes. Well, the office is called Essential Health. You can always Google my name, which is Margo Toms, Toms, and schedule online. Just come in for initial consult and we can go through everything. If people are trying to save money, you can always get your blood work done at your primary care. I do everything at the office, but if you're trying to, be economical about it, that will save a little bit. But I really feel like it's worth it. Like it makes such a difference. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again from Dawn and I. That's it for today's episode of Hot Flash Health. Remember, balancing your hormones doesn't have to be complicated, scary, or shameful. Let's break that stigma, support our cycles, and shine through every stage of life. Be sure to follow us at Hot Flash Health on Instagram, Facebook, and yes, even us oldies are on TikTok. And subscribe to our channel on any of your listening platforms. We're on YouTube, Apple, Spotify. Till next time, stay sassy, stay classy, and stay a little naughty. And that's a wrap on today's episode. Remember, menopause may be a wild ride, but together we've got this.
And don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok at Hot Flash Health.
Stream and subscribe to us on any of your favorite listening platforms like YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
And of course, share your thoughts with us. We love hearing from our amazing listeners.
And until next time, stay sassy, stay fabulous, and keep those hot flashes in check.
Yeah, girl.
Woo!